You know, I think Tetsu said this better than I ever could. Lidia is a character that's super easy to play in pools. She's a great character in pools because no one knows the matchup. So you can just run through with her, do some bullshit, and you're going to be basically fine. But as soon as you come across a Korean player that knows the matchup, you're screwed. Not his exact words. It's more of what he said put into my own words, but this couldn't be more true, and it's something that I have been saying time and time and time again since Season 2 has come out. A lot of people have very strong opinions of Lidia, how she plays and how strong she is, and a lot of these opinions come from a place of ignorance. It's because no one knows the matchup, no one's labbed the character, no one knows even the basic rudimentary things about her. You see people that are saying that, like, hopkick is unpunishable when she's in heat because she could go into heaven and earth, when that's just blatantly not true. Down jab is a true punish. But even though the character has been out for over a year at this point, you still see these same points being regurgitated over and over and over again when it comes to a character design, when it comes to a strength, that just brilliantly aren't true, whether it's from the common player, from content creators, or pros alike. No one knows this matchup, no one knows this character, and no one has bothered spending even 2 minutes labbing Lidia to come to a more nuanced conclusion on her, understand the matchup well, actually learn how to play against her, and frankly, I can kinda understand why. Lidia is a very complicated character with a lot going on, and labbing the character takes a lot of time because of that. It's similar to labbing Yoshimitsu or Xiaoyu in a sense, and when you so rarely see Lidia, that time and energy could be better spent labbing a lot of other characters. And that's why I'm here. I've been saying for so long at this point that a lot of what people say about Lidia is misguided, ignorant, and just flat out wrong. And I think it's about time that I make a video going over the most common mistakes I see at both a normal level and even what I see from content creators playing against Lidia, and when I myself play against pro players, the mistakes that I constantly see in the matchup and what you need to be doing to beat these things. And the very first thing that we're going to talk about is that Lidia's weak side is not sidestep left, it's sidestep right. This is something that I see time and time again from even pro players when they play against Lidia, just consulting the sidestep chart and sidestepping left when this is not the correct way to sidestep Lidia. The reason why is because Lidia has quite a few moves that track to sidestep left that are devastating. Down forward 2, for instance, is an extremely common one, where you can see if, for example, I do back 1 and then I go into down forward 2, that's going to track to sidestep left. If I do something that's +6, like say while running 1 and then back 1, that's going to track to sidestep left. And even in some situations, like after I do down back 4, for instance, hopkick tracks to sidestep left. Lidia has a plethora of options that will track to sidestep left that are going to very easily and quickly get you blown up, or at best is going to put you in a true mix situation between some of her decent counter hit mids and, of course, her low down back 3. Whereas if you try sidestepping right, the only moves Lidia has are actually going to track to sidestep right, if we jab, are down forward 1 and down 2, which is her -4 on hit low, meaning that if it hits you, as long as it doesn't counter hit you, it's no big deal. This is basically all of the relevant moves that she has that tracks to this side, but if I down forward 2, you can see it'll whiff. If I back 1, it'll very cleanly whiff. Even at +6, it'll cleanly whiff. And if I hop kick, it'll cleanly whiff. This is one of the most common mistakes that I see, even at God of Destruction level, is that I see a lot of people, particularly Lily players for some reason, that will just always step to sidestep left, sidestep left, sidestep left, and this is just completely incorrect. This is the same when it comes to her stance as well. For example, when we go in the horse here, horse 2 whiffs, sidestep right. But if we choose to do sidestep left, you can see that it's going to track here. And then if I do while running 1 in the Heaven Earth, you can see Heaven Earth 2 is going to track sidestep left. But if you sidestep right, then Heaven Earth 2 will whiff and you will get a launch punish. The actual only time that you want to sidestep left against Lidia is when you are playing against the Lidia with very high execution and doing forward 2 after a +6 situation. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do while running 1, forward 4. Oh, shit. Let me try that again. While running 1, forward 2. And you see how that tracks to sidestep right. This tracks the sidestep right at +6 and +5 with a 1-frame link. You can see if I'm a little bit too late on my forward 2 there, it'll whiff to sidestep right. But if I 1-frame link it, try it again. There you go. It will track to sidestep right. So this is something that's only relevant against a Lidia that has extremely high execution. In this case, the way that you actually step this move is sidestep left. Same with the +6 situation as well. Sidestep left is going to beat forward 2 here. This is the only time where you want to sidestep left. It's only in these situations where you're -5, -6, and you have a Lidia with very high execution that's trying to do forward 2. And another reason for this as well is if we're in heat. Sorry, my control is broken. Let me try that again. Oop, sorry, I have them set to... Hold on. Try it again. There we go. So you can see if I actually hit that link while I'm in heat, then obviously the effects of it are a lot more devastating. So it leaves you a little bit more locked down against a Lidia that is high execution. But what a lot of Lidia players are going to do in this situation is they're going to do this into like down forward 2. And you can see because that whiffs the sidestep right, that means that she basically gets no ability to continue her pressure afterwards as long as you're step blocking to the right like this. Now, the next thing that I see from every level, including pro players, including when I play against pro players, is the post hopkick situation. This is -13 on block. This says -5. It lies to you. It's wrong because Lidia's in stance and it takes her time to be able to transition out of the stance. This is -13 on block. Moves like 2-2 here are, if they would actually block it, are -12 on block. This is also -12 on block. So all of these moves are punishable. The problem is, though, that if you try punishing this and Lidia is in heat, so let's just go with a 1-2-2 so we can do our fastest option possible here. And if Lidia goes into heaven and earth, set this to punish here while in heat, then Lidia parries your punish. And so a lot of people say that Lidia's hopkick is unpunishable because she gets it to go into heaven and earth for free. And this is just blatantly false. One true thing that you can do to punish this is down jab. Lidia is -13 here, so when Lidia hopkicks here, down jab is going to be a punish regardless, and the heaven earth parry does not parry lows. So if I go into here, you can see that that is a punish. So down jab is a true punish, and anyone telling you that the move is unpunishable while Lidia is in heat are just completely ignorant of the matchup. But the other thing that you can do here too is grab. So if, again, Lidia does hopkick while in heat and then goes into heaven and earth, if you have that read, then grab is going to be a true punish because unlike, say, Reyna's parry while in heat, that parry requires her to get hit and then there's like an effect that goes on and then she does something else. For Lidia, Lidia doesn't get hit to do her parry. Lidia is just constantly in a parry state, which means that grab is a true punish. You cannot break this. So if you ever have a read that Lidia is going to go into heaven and earth, or you can see I'm hitting 1+2 to break it, and it doesn't work. But also because this is -13, if I try ducking here as well, canceling out stance and ducking, I can't. This is a true punish. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that if I don't go into heaven and earth that I can't break it. Of course I can. But if I try doing anything here, it's also going to be counter hit. And if I go into heaven and earth, it's going to be guaranteed. And this is not only true off of hopkick, but it's true off of a lot of her other moves as well, even if you get hit. So let's say that I do forward 2. It's +17 on hit, and I still get punished if I get grabbed out of heaven and earth. You can see I'm hitting the 2 button, but if you have a read that she's going to go into heaven and earth, even if you get hit, then it's still a true punish. If I hit with the second hit of red poppy, which is +23 on hit, I think, 24, you can see that grab is still a true punish if you have the read that she's going to go in the heaven and earth, even when she hits you and you're minus 24. So make sure that you are grabbing her out of heaven and earth when you have that read. Now, while we're on the topic, a lot of Lidia's heaven and earth transition tools aren't real. They don't give her a real mix-up in the sense that like you can't do anything to counter it, or you don't have any counterplay. The only moves where that's the case is off of Heat Smash, because Lidia's left at plus 10 and 2 is a 13 frame move. So unless you have a 3 frame parry like Jin, for instance, then you aren't going to be able to have anything there to stop that. Same with Wolf 1. This also leaves you at plus 10, so there's nothing that you can do there. However, the other moves that Lidia uses to transition into heaven and earth stands directly are a lot more punishable. So, for example, one common thing that I'll see is some Lidia players will do 1+2 and not charge it. This is only +1, which means that you can actually be interrupted by an 11 frame or faster move. We talked about this a little bit earlier too, but if you do while running 1 and then heaven and earth 2, this can be sidestepped to the right, and then you get full launcher on Lidia if she does either option. Now, you gotta be a little bit careful of this, because if I time this right, the 1 is basically a homing move. I dropped the combo. It wouldn't be a Sesujin video if I didn't drop the combo. But the damage that you get off of heaven and earth 1 is devastating. So make sure you sidestep right blocking, and you're not like doing sidestep right and then trying to hit a button, because that can very easily get you killed. And now the last thing is off of Horse 2. This will put Lidia in heaven and earth at only +8, which means any punch parry in the game is able to beat heaven and earth 2. Now, you gotta be a little bit careful of this, because if Lidia does this and then delays it, then that can beat through the parry, of course. But then if Lydia's delaying it, you can sidestep the 2, you can counter hit her out of the stance. So there's a little bit of a dynamic there, but if you aren't letting Lidia just rip heaven and earth 2 or the mix up every single time, and you're doing like the parry and stuff to try countering it, then that's going to make her have to open herself up a little bit more by doing the delays and stuff, and then that's going to open up your options to counter hit her out of it, to sidestep the move, etc, etc. All right, and then the last thing I want to talk about with heaven and earth is that heaven and earth 1+2, oh my god, my controller is so busted. Heaven and earth 1+2 is fine. This move is actually not very good, and you're kind of happy if this move hits you. And the reason I say that is because if you understand how to play against Lidia, then this neutral reset that happens when heaven and earth 1+2 hits is very good for you. The reason why is that if you end up blocking something like heaven and earth 2 here, oh my god, my control is so busted. Then Lydia's left at +6 standing, and you're taking a good chunk of chip damage, right? And this is only at heaven and earth level 1. If I go to... where do I go to increase this? Oh man, I've completely forgotten. There it is. If I go to like level 3, for instance, then this is doing 12 chip damage, right? It's quite a chunky amount of chip damage, and it's leaving you at -6, meaning that Lidia is able to continue her pressure, she's able to continue her mix-ups, and if she ends up hitting you with one thing after that situation, like let's say that afterwards you just like duck here, then situation like this is really tricky for you to deal with. I mean, you can see how much health you lose, you get pushed to the wall. There's a lot that Lidia can do to convert off that and maximize her use of heat. However, when Lidia hits you with heaven and earth 1+2 here, neutral resets, right? Because when you wake up, now Lidia has to kind of commit to, like, if she's going to do while running 2 to get back in or something like that. And of course, if she's committing to while running 2, you can just stay on the ground, toe kick her, and then neutral's really reset. You have more defensive options when you're on the ground than when you're standing and you're -6 in her face. And the main concern when you're playing against Lidia while she's in heat, as we all know, Lydia's heat is extremely strong. I'm obviously not going to argue that's not the case. I've been saying that since minute 1 with her, that when she's in heat, she's completely broken and the best character in the game. So your main concern is that you minimize the amount of times that you have to eat the damage, eat the mix-ups, eat the chip damage, etc., etc. And being hit by Heaven and Earth 1+2 is one of the avenues for it. And what you need to do in these kind of situations when you get hit by this is let's activate the opponent's heat here just to show you an example of this. And go here, here. And let's just do this and then do this, right? So she has to commit to the forward 4-2 after this hits. Otherwise, you're just going to be able to sidestep it, right? But if she's committing to that, then you can toe kick her out of it, and now neutral's reset. And now all of a sudden, if you're able to like get your heat engagers, or you're able to launch her or whatever, now her heat is going to drain. She's going to have less opportunity to be able to increase her stat count. She's going to have less opportunity to be able to mix you. And so she's taking that immediate damage and sacrificing the damage that she's going to get long term. And so you can also use this to your advantage in quite a lot of situations as well to understand when she's going to have the Heaven Earth 1+2. If she's simply using it as a mix-up, then you're kind of winning. Because as soon as that hits her, if you play neutral well, if you play your cards right, and, you know, you stack your offense, then she might not get an use out of her heat again afterwards. So sort of what you want to look out for the Heaven and Earth 1+2 is times where it would actually be devastating to get hit by it. So for example, if you would lose the round, if the Heaven and Earth 1+2 hits you, because then at that point, obviously, it doesn't matter if she might lose control of neutral, if you play well or you defend well, because you've lost the round. It's just irrelevant. So those are situations where you really have to look out for and try stopping her from going into Heaven and Earth with the examples we talked about before. The other part about Heaven and Earth 1+2 as well, of course, is that if you duck under and punish her for it, then she's not just losing her health, right? She's also losing her heat because of that same thing that we just talked about. So she's going to not only eat all of this combo damage, eat these mix-ups, but now her health is going to drain while she's not in control, or not her health. Her heat is going to drain while she's not in control of neutral, which means, again, not only is she getting... I ran out of recording space in the middle of that sentence, ha! But basically what I was trying to say is not only is she, like, getting that damage from the 1+2, she's not getting that short-term damage, but long-term she's also losing out on damage too, because while you retain control of neutral, she's going to be losing heat, and that's sort of what your game plan needs to shift to when she's in heat. You don't necessarily want to be looking to, like, hit her or mix her or whatever. You just want to remain in control of neutral while her heat drains. The strongest part about Lidia and the most damage she's going to get is what she's able to do while she's in heat. A lot of people say that she, especially in Season 1, that she can't really function outside of heat. That I don't think is true, but it requires a lot of skill to be able to make her work outside of heat. A lot of mind games, a lot of interaction, a lot of back and forth, and not necessarily relying on mix-ups. And while she is in heat, she can actually apply mix-ups in the right situations more consistently. She can force out more damage, and in the long term, you're just going to be eating so much that when you do get control of neutral, what your plan should be is just lock her down with plus frames, keep control of neutral until her heat drains, and then by that point, even if she gets it back once, she's lost so much potential damage that's going to make you more likely to win in the round. So again, you got Lidia just throwing out like Heaven Earth 1+2 and Heaven Earth 2 as a mix-up, then that's perfectly fine because you get hit by the 1+2. As long as you know what you're doing, that's actually kind of a positive thing for you as long as you're not losing the round off of it. All right, now moving on from Heaven Earth, let's talk a little bit about the post-forward 4-2 situation, because this is a point of contention for a lot of people because they go, well, this is what just makes her a stance 50-50 mix-up character. And this just isn't true. The best way to be able to beat this is sidestep right block. Sidestep right block here, and that's going to be every single thing that she does except for 1+2. If Lidia does, say, 2, for instance, even though this is -10, Then you sidestep this. Sorry, I'm sidestepping left like a damn idiot. I'm thinking about playing the player 2 Lidia right now, and I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, if you sidestep right block here, that's going to avoid the 2. You avoid the 1 that way, the 3, right? None of these things are going to hit you if you sidestep right block. The only thing that's going to end up hitting you in this situation is 1+2, which is -1 on hit, you know? So if this ends up hitting you, it's not a big deal. Where it really becomes a big deal is if you try, like, power crushing here through it, if you try heat bursting here, if you try doing, like, a jab string. Those are where that's going to catch you out, and that's what a good Lidia player is going to be fishing for the 1+2. Not using it as a mix-up, but instead using it as counter hit. And because of that, if you're doing sidestep right block, then that's going to prevent her from being able to use that as a counter hit option. That's what makes it a very powerful tool. Now, the other thing as well, if you know that Lidia isn't going to do horse 3 here, then sidestep right duck actually beats and launches every option. So I have the 1 here to demonstrate, but you can see if you have the right timing on sidestep right duck, this just straight up launches every single thing that Lidia can do. Oh my god, it dropped. But it just straight up launches every single thing that Lidia can do here. And then you get full combo, right? So you already have a mediocre mix-up as long as you aren't, like, mashing into it, as long as you know the right options to counterplay it, which is most of the time just sidestep, block. And that's going to mean that the risk-reward is heavily skewed in your favor as the defender. Now, the other option that you have as well to be able to beat pretty much all of this is down jab. So even if I do 2 here, if I just down jab, then that's going to beat it. If I have Lidia do the 1 here, and I'll hold back here so I can block just to demonstrate that. But if I do this, then I still get a launcher off of it if I go onto the high. So the only thing that this is going to lose to is the 3. Again, sorry, my control is busted. And this is going to be obviously sidestep right duck. And it's going to be down jab. But you can float her out of this if you have a read that she's going to do that. And the only thing that's going to be a jab is 1+2, which we just saw, like, can get you counter hit launch if you do the full string. But if you just do 1 jab, you're not going to get counter hit launch doing this. So it's only if you're doing, like, a full string that you get counter hit launch. But if you just do 1 jab after this to try checking for the 3 or something like that, then it's not going to be a big deal. Now, where this changes is down back 3. The main way that this changes is that because this is +7, the 2 is actually going to go through jabs and down jabs, right? But besides that, this entire situation is going to be same after forward, 2, core circle, forward, 4, because these both have the same frames, right? +5, +5. Sidestep 2 is -1. So it's going to be basically the same thing. And so personally, what I choose to do when I'm playing against Lidia is just sidestep right block, because I don't care about the 1+2. It opens me up to nothing. And if I have a read that she's going to do anything besides horse 3, then sidestep right duck just to launch her for doing everything. I personally think it's the best option. I think it's the hardest thing to deal with as being the Lidia player. But jab and down jab can also be very good options as well. So yeah, we'll talk about Kat a little bit as well. When she does, like, down forward 2 and stance, she's 0. Her fastest move is 13, so you can just jab check her out of this. Now, there are a couple of characters like Mishima's where Kat 4 will actually go under the jab for some reason. I don't know why. In that case, just down jab. And when she's in heat as well, as we talked about before, if she goes into heaven and earth, down jab is a true punish. So it's not a big deal. And if you grab her as well, her fastest move out of this is 13, grabs 12. So grab will work here too. What you have to be wary of, though, if you do grab, is that Lidia can cancel off stance and then duck under the grab. But no Lidia is going to do this. You know, like, no Lidia player is going to actively, like, try ducking under grab and launching you. I think that she's on jab here, so I can... No, she's not. She's set to parry. So let me do this for real quick. But you can see if I have a read that you go and, like, grab me out of heaven and earth, then my option is to duck under it and then launch you. So it's not a a completely safe solution. But if she does anything other than that, then you get grab, right? So that's a pretty good option if she's in heat as well to stop the cat stuff. Now, moving on from like horse and cat, let's talk a little bit about wolf, and let's specifically talk about red poppy, because this is the move that every Lidia player uses now, and I have never seen a single person punish this correctly. You sidestep right. So if I do this immediately, we said before it's -12 on block, and it'll catch sidestep, leave Lidia at +24. So she gets a true 50-50 off of the wolf stance. But if she delays this at all, sidestep right whiffs. If she fully charges it, sidestep right whiffs. And even if she partly charges it as well, you can see she doesn't even have to fully charge it. Sidestep right causes it to whiff. Also important to note as well, that she has to do full charge to go into the stance at +8. If she half charges it, she's still -12. So there is no half charge shenanigans going on here that cause the frame dad to be different like there is with, say, 1+2. She has to fully charge it here. And the mistake I see a lot of people make here is that they'll attack into it. And the problem is if you attack into this, so let's just have them set up to jab here. Boop, boop, boop. Oop. This gives Lidia full launcher, right? Boop. Oh my god, my finger slipped off the D-pad. It wouldn't be a Sesujin video. And so it makes no sense for you to try interrupting this, right? Because even if you are able to catch her out of doing this delayed or charged one, it's not worth the risk. And you'd be better off just sidestepping because you get full launcher instead of whatever your like interrupt string is. So yeah, just sidestep this right, sidestep block. If you have a read that she's going to partially fully charge it or delay it, it's going to be safer and give you a lot more reward than trying to interrupt it with buttons. On top of that, there's also the situation when Lidia goes into wolf here at +8. Power crush beats every mid option out of the stance. She also doesn't have any grab that she can do out of the stance, so a power crush is a way to be able to beat every single mid that she can do out of here. She's +8, and the fastest move that she has is 15 frames. So if you know, like, Power Crush comes out in frame 7, and that means that Power Crush is going to be literally anything that she can do here. So we'll just set this up to demonstrate real quick. But we do this. Oop, let me just have her do this. See, I do the 2. And that's it. And if I try doing the low owl stance as well, this does nothing special. I'm in 3 stacks, so let me turn that off. So maybe this is a little bit of a bad demonstration, but you can see it does nothing special on counter hit. I get 2 extra damage because it's counter hit. That's it. So counter hit or power crush is a really good option for you to utilize because Lidia doesn't have any specific counters to power crush while she is in wolf stance. And this includes as well if you do, say, cat 4, because again she's +8, so you can heat burst through all of the mids, or if you have a power crush that you can do from crouch, that'll also beat all of the mids. And then horse 4 as well, same thing, leaves her +8. So if I do any mid here, power crush blows through it, and Lidia doesn't really have any options to stop that except for, of course, block, and then she can punish it if it's a mid, or if she has a high, if she has a reach, she can duck under it and launch you, right? But that's all she can really do. So yeah, make sure that you're using that. It's not a true 50-50. You don't just have to eat it. You do have counterplay options. And then even off of the low as well. If you have a read that she's going through the low, this is a little bit riskier, but you can hop kick the low and you get a full launcher instead of just a 14 frame punish if you're a character that doesn't have a 14 frame while rising launcher. And now for something outside of stance, something that I see people mess up all the time is the post back 1 situation, and I'm not quite sure why, but the post back 1 situation, basically what's going on here is that afterwards she's left +2, and a lot of Lidia players use down forward 2 to try fishing for counter hit. And I don't know why, but a lot of people I see try taking their turn afterwards when this is blocked, and that really opens you up to counter hit. Now, there are a couple of ways around this. If you have a good, like, 13 frame hit counter hit tool like this, I actually need to set this up for punish, so pardon me for a second. But if you have a good 13 frame counter hit tool like Steve's back one, for instance, that's going to shut down the down forward 2 like counter hit fishing situation afterwards. But if you don't have a good one, then this can get you launched. This is very character dependent. Different characters have different, like, 13 frame moves that may give Lidia a launcher on trade. They may not. They may launch Lidia. It depends a lot. And because of that, one really strong tool you can have is a 12 frame mid. So think of like Yoshimitsu and Elisa. They both have a 12 frame down forward 4 that basically stops Lidia from being able to do anything afterwards. She has no real options except for block, so that's very strong. Other thing that you can do as well to interrupt this, of course, is jab. So if I'll set this up to punish here, and if you try jab interrupting this like that, then this is going to be a very good option. You can see. But where this gets a little bit funky is that Lidia also has down 2, which will high crush under your jab and then give her a heat engager. So you have to consider those options a little bit, but then also remember, if she's just doing like down forward 2 and you block it, we talked about this before with Cat, she can't do anything out of the stance as long as you're doing something that's 12 frames or faster to take your turn. You're not letting her catch you out with the Cat 3. So it's not really a big deal. And then if down 2 hits, she's -4, right? So that's not really a big deal. The other thing that Lidia can do as well is down back 3, but then like jab is going to interrupt that as well. So it's not really a great option for her to choose. And so yeah, you have quite a few options here to be able to stop this. And like we talked about before as well, like at the beginning of this video, after this, you can just sidestep right in. That's also going to beat the down forward 2. Now, where this becomes a little bit muddier is if, like, again, we talked about before, if you play against the Lidia with a bit higher execution, because if she does this 1 frame link, it comes out in frame 14, which means that it's going to counter hit through any 13 frame move that you have. So again, say that we're playing Steve and we try back one-ing her. If you're playing against the Lidia with very high execution, she gets counter hit off the forward 2 and then gets her heat engager afterwards. So that's another thing to consider as well, but that's not something you're going to be seeing unless you're playing as the top 0.1% of Lidia players, so probably not something you have to worry about. And then the very last thing that I want to bring up is duck the damn highs. I see so many Lidia players, even at like Tekken Emperor, Tekken God, that just throw this out with reckless abandon because no one ducks the high. Please, God, duck the high. Same with like down 3, 1, 2. You can duck this last hit when the first hit hits. Please, God, duck this. Don't let Lidia get away with these stupid highs. Don't let Lidia just throw out these moves with reckless abandon, throw out these free launchers. Same with the hop kick as well, going in the heaven and earth, and let her get away with that. This is the reason why a lot of people say that Lidia is like broken top 5, stupid frame, big damage, mixed up heavy character, is because they don't like understand the matchup, right? They don't understand not only the more complicated things that we talked about a little bit in this video, like the various saps and stuff, but even when it comes down to the basic things, like being able to punish hopkick in the heaven and earth, not knowing that down jab is a punish, not being able to duck basic things like 3-2. This character has been out for more than a year, and even those bare bones basic of matchup knowledge, I'll play against pro players and even they don't know about some of these things. They don't know how to counter some of these things. And I think that's been a major cause of why this perception around Lidia has formulated. And, you know, I don't know why people are so adamant about remaining ignorant. And when people try, like, explaining how certain things that they say are wrong, or Lidia is not as strong as people say that she is, then it's just meant with la 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 la, downplay, la 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 la. So I don't know what it is with people. I don't know why people have such a strong reaction to this character while simultaneously not bothering to lab to such a extreme degree that they don't know how to duck 3-2, but that's the state that we're in now at, again, every level of play. And maybe now when you watch like some pro players or even your favorite content creators playing against Lidia, maybe you'll start noticing these things. And when you start noticing these things, it's going to make it easier for you to apply that in a real game scenario. And that's the point of this video. I just want to help all of you out with understanding like what you need to do against Lidia, how you counter these things, because frankly, when you play against a player that actually knows this matchup, it's a hell of a lot more fun and interesting than when I'm playing against anyone and they don't even have the iota of understanding of how this character works. So that's gonna do it for me. Those are the that's all of the most notable things I've seen when it comes to anti-Lidia and the things that you should know when playing against this character. Finally, to round out this video, big thank you to all of the channel members. You guys help continue to allow me to create content like this. So big thank you to Lisetto, Debauch Prism, Elner, Tapion, Devil GTO, LG, and Tekken. Thank you all very much for being channel members. I want to end off this video on a little bit of a side note about the channel and stuff. This video was actually recorded about 2.5 weeks ago. So I know that there has been a certain video that has come out by a certain creator that has created a lot of attention in the community, specifically the Lidia player community. This video was actually recorded before that video was made. And the reason why it took so long to come out is because I have been working on a second channel, link in the description down below. And that channel has made me doing stuff really scattered, and I've been having trouble trying to keep everything together and like making sure that I'm uploading equally and making content equally for both channels. So I do apologize for that. That has been a while since the video has come out. I do have a couple more that I have in the works, but they've been on the back burner because I've been focusing on trying to keep the ball rolling on the second channel since it's been doing so well. So I do apologize for that, but there will be more content out on this channel more frequently. Don't worry, I'm going to keep doing my best. But if you want more content from me, check out the link below and go give a look at the second channel. Anyway, again, thank you all very much for watching. I hope this helped you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!